This Cracker Barrel 400 DFS Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a $25 deposit bonus.
Start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting until I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and we have reached the end of the broadcast week. Of course, not the end of the week, just the end of the broadcast week. But it feels like, Cody, it should be like Saturday already. I don't know. I've got my Hawaiian shirt on. I've embraced the weekend, and we're still one day away.
Yes, you are. You're in the spirit. I love it. It's been, I think, so. Full disclosure, I've got the entire week off next week from work, so I'm like looking forward to that, counting on the days. But that also makes like the week leading up to that at work that much busier and that much more like it's just dragging on. Like finally, one more day left, then I got the whole week off, so I'm pretty excited for that.
You know, it's funny because when we're in the military active duty side, that we used to take what we called block leave. And so we would chunk out a couple of weeks in the summer, a couple of weeks in the winter, because we all couldn't just take leave whenever we wanted to. We had to pretty much do it together because we'd leave our unit just completely empty if we did that way. So you're right. Like that entire week before block leave, you knew that you were just about to take vacation, and it's just the tank you just saw emptying, and nobody had a Joey Logano expansive tank where they could just keep themselves going until the end. It just, yeah, we were playing the fuel mileage game by the end of that week.
We were playing the fuel mileage game, Rod. Boy, I don't know if you remember DFS last year in this race. What a ride that was. 5 overtimes later, you were cashing, then you weren't, then you were, then you weren't, then you were, then you weren't, then you were, then you were, and it landed on one of those coins eventually.
Well, yeah, which one? Yeah, we all know which one. It was the Joey Logano one. But Justin checking in saying, hello, gentlemen, Curly and the great state of Illinois, getting some of my NASCAR bets in. Perfect timing.
Great state. Yeah, debatable, but the state of Illinois. I mean, they do have legal gambling, so I'll give you that. But yeah, hey, glad you're placing some bets.
Yeah, indeed. Like I believe it's a great state if I could do that there too, as well. So
sure.
Good for you,
Except
Illinois.
for Iowa. It's legal in Iowa, not a great state. I can attest to that.
The Midwest rivalry is absolutely real. Sorry, Justin Mark over there for the Iowa cracks that continue to happen each and every day. But you know what else? What is great actually is the great state of Tennessee, in which the Nashville Superspeedway is in Lebanon, Tennessee, and that is where we were at today for the Cracker Barrel 400, which, by the way, Marcus predicts that Christopher Bell will win at Nashville, plus dominated the race last year, leading 131 laps, sweeping the stage before crashing out. It's a hell of a DFS day for him there.
That was it was until it wasn't. I mean, it still ended up being pretty good. If you lead 131 laps, you're not having a horrible score, but crashing out at the end definitely hurts a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it took them all the way down to a 25-point day. So yeah, unfortunately, not good for DFS purposes, but still a good one. Anyways, yes, so we are here for the all three series, obviously going to be in effect, but we give you our DFS picks for the Cup race because it just makes more sense, more people play, and yeah, we're gonna have a good time giving you that, and then of course follow it up with our Underdog Fantasy picks, which are really good this week. There's some really good
we're getting spicy in the underdog world, Rod.
Yeah, we are. And we're getting spoiled too, by the way. Those guys are really giving us some good numbers to be projected as well. Listen, I know that a lot of you guys out there are complete and total degens and you'll do whatever the Sports Gambling Podcast Network says. Well, follow them along as they start ripping packs, the guys at the SGP. They're going to rip packs live on air next Monday night. They'll be breaking down a case of Panini Prisms with Daps. Yep. And you can get 10% off of your favorite team with promo code SGPN. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/break. Get in on all of the action. Well, like I said, Cody, last year, this DFS race was one to be desired. Hopefully, cross our fingers, we have this one pegged in that we can give some good DFS picks for the day.
Yes, I want to address Justin quickly because we know he's placing his bets right now. You probably should listen to the Xfinity and Truck show on your way to place the bets, but that's okay. We don't think it's high. I mean, it always could be Heim time, but Rod and I are not predicting, or at least not betting on. I think you could predict that it'll probably be Heim time every week. Not betting on Heim time, though, Justin.
Well, the frustrating part is this. Like, it could be that every slot on the roulette wheel says Heim except for one. And over the last few weeks, we've been finding that one slot. It should be Heim time, right? You should be able to push all your chips in on Heim, but that ball has another thing. It's got its own mind of its own, and it just lands wherever it wants to land, that one spot that's not Heim.
Yeah, that's actually a fairly good analogy for what's been happening.
Thank you indeed. All right, well then, if you are unfamiliar with the DFS episode, or you have forgotten between the last time and this time, we give you all of our favorite high-price drivers, mid-tier drivers, and low-price drivers for the slate for this Cracker Barrel 400. We are set for 300 laps around this 1.333 mile paved track for 399.900 miles around the Nashville Superspeedway in Lebanon, Tennessee. And as Marcus pointed out, that yes, Christopher Bell did lead 131 laps last year. So there are possibilities for guys to lead a lot of laps. So we have to identify those folks that are going to do that. And hopefully we do. Old fashioned football. Speaking of Justin, say his name. He shows up.
Yeah, he must have been one of those things where he knew we were talking about him. He's like, I better check these guys out.
Indeed. And he loves the shirt. So thank you very much. Like I said, I'm feeling festive today. It's a celebration of the last day of school for my kids. And yeah, summertime.
He also likes my shirt, which is crazy, Rod, because it's a Nebraska Cornhuskers shirt.
Oh!
So I'm glad that you like it, Justin. That's good to hear from the Iowa fans that they like the Nebraska Cornhusker shirt. I appreciate you including that, Justin. Yeah, that backfired very quickly on him.
Ouch. All right. Well, hopefully our picks will not backfire for you guys out there. So, Cody, I feel like with no other real news to talk about, I think, right? Other than join the Discord, by the way.
Yeah,
if you really, really want to be up to date on everything, join the Discord. That thing has been jumping today.
I got to catch up from a lot of messages today. Had a very busy day and I've not been in there too much, but we keep getting new people joining. So we appreciate that. We're glad to see all you guys over there. If you are joined and you do have some issues at first, hit me up in the DMs. We can fix that. Our AI to clean out the spam sometimes catches the real people a little bit, but once we get it cleaned up, it's all good. So yeah, we appreciate everybody going over there. It's great. I did want to say too, Rod, advertising works so well. I keep, every time I log into this, we have the graphic up on there and the Cracker Barrel logo is there. I want Cracker Barrel so fucking bad. Like we're hitting Cracker Barrel this weekend just because they're advertising for this race. Every time I see it, you keep talking about it like Cracker Barrel.
I'm telling you, and I don't even have one. I don't think I have one within 50 miles of me, and I don't care. We're going to take a trip and go.
Oh, the Midwest must be different. There's like a Cracker Barrel every 13
I remember that because I remember when I lived in that area that all there was were Cracker Barrels, and I loved it. But here, no, we don't.
We got Cracker Barrel everywhere, and it's fucking.
We do not. But yeah, I'm definitely there for it as well. Cracker Barrel 400, baby. It's all this weekend. It won't wear off of me. I'm going to want it, so we're going to go get it. But
All right, Rod. Let's get into DFS picks. I'm going to start with Denny Hamlin, $10,700. I talked about him on the betting episode earlier this week. I really like Denny going into this one. If you go back and you look at what he's done, we've got the 3 next-gen races at Nashville. And let's back up a little bit, right? We'll set it back up. If you haven't listened to the betting episode yet, this is a 1.33-mile concrete track. I believe you mentioned that. What does it comp to? Nothing. There you go. That's your – but it races a lot like a high-speed intermediate, so your 1.5-mile tracks, so Kansas, Vegas, you can pull from Texas, Charlotte. We've been to all those places. Bristol's another place we've been to. The concrete aspect, they also run the same package there. Races similar, as well as Dover. We have not been there this year, but you can go back and look at previous stuff at Dover because that's a fairly good comp as well. So it's kind of its own hybrid, as Ryan put it over at iFantasy on his track comparison sheet. But those are kind of the places you can pull from it. But we do have 3 races here that you can look back on, 4 total, but 3 in the next gen era. And Denny's been good in all 3. Last year, you go back, again, the stats I'm using are the stats with 2 laps to go. Where were you running with 2 laps to go? Because I know at the end of the day, that was not the results. But the craziness of 5 overtimes and how Joey Logano goes from 14th to end up winning that by making his fuel last, we're likely to not see that again. It's possible, clearly, because it happened last year, but likely to not see it. With 2 laps to go, Denny Hamlin was leading on his way to a win, led 70 laps on the day, so a strong day for him. 2023 led 81 laps, finished in 3rd place. 2022 led 114 laps, finished in 6th. 3 for 3, leading at least 70 laps. So he's leading a ton of laps. He's getting out front, finished inside the top 6. 3 of those, asterisk 1 with 2 laps to go last year for the data set I'm looking at, Rod. But I think people are going to be scared of Denny Hamlin right now in the DFS world. And it's probably pretty justified, right? Because if you click on his name, it's not going to look very good because it's been pretty rough for Denny here lately. The results haven't been there, and it's mostly been out of his control, right? Last week, fast car, maybe he could have won that race. They don't get the fuel in the car in that second can. He runs low, has to come in a pit. You go back to Kansas, had a mechanical issue there. Blew a motor back at Texas. So, but in all of those races, Kansas, he looked like he could have been the second fastest car in that race. But, engine issues, mechanical stuff like that just happens. For that to continue to happen when they've already had enough issues here lately, I think that's fairly unlikely. He's due for a big one, and he's been really, really good at this track. There's no doubt that he's looking forward to coming back to a place like this where he's seen the success that he has. And if you look at him, it's still some decent days, right? 60.9 points last week, and it should have been much higher. He had 37 fastest laps. That's another thing, right? So he led 53 laps, 37 fastest laps. He's racking up all those points, and that was with a bad finish. He finished in 16th place because of the fuel issue. Could have been a lot better, but 8.4 at Kansas, or minus 8.4 at Kansas, minus 26.3 at Texas because, again, having the issues there. But you go back to Bristol, 59.3 points. He led 34 laps on the day. And really, I think those were the only 34 laps that Kyle Larson didn't lead. But he's had some massive days, 151 points back at Darlington. That's the type of day you can get from Denny. Led 274 laps, 75 fastest laps, rather. That's the type of day that I kind of expect from Denny this weekend. At a track where he's been great. All 3 chances we've had here in the next gen era, he's been really good. And he's shown all the speed and stuff you could possibly want out of that car lately, except for a few issues here and there. But if they clean that stuff up and figure out what the issue is, he's going to be fine going forward. So give me Denny Hamlin near the top of the board at 10,000.
To your point, 56.4 fantasy points in 2024. He had 73 in 2023, and in 2022, 92.1. So definitely always a solid investment on the Nashville Superspeedway is Denny Hamlin. I'm going to go with another solid investment, especially so far this season. That's Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain so far this season, the 5th highest fantasy points per race average this year, 46.5 fantasy points for Ross Chastain in that one car last week. Obviously, got you a hell of a day. Started 40th, finished first, got you 88 points on the day. That's a fantastic. And he was $9,000 that day. They raised his price $1,000 by adjusting for inflation, which is fine. We'll still take him at $10,000. 46 points the week before, 33 the week before that, 71, 35, 79, 55, 52. Big numbers, right? Gigantic numbers. If you look at what he's done so far on this track, it's a little topsy-turvy. It's been the good Ross Chastain and the bad Ross Chastain. So you have to figure out exactly which one you're going to get. Last year, he only got you 11.2 fantasy points on the day. The year before that, he got you the most. He scored the highest amount of fantasy points in the race in 2023 with 86.4, winning from the pole, leading 99 laps rather, and having 37 of the fastest laps on this track. And then, of course, in 2022, another one of those down Ross Chastain years. But again, it's just lately he's really, really been killing it. I mean, down, I say down, but he was the 9th highest scorer in the 2022 race with 44.6. I'll still take 4 times my investment at $10,000 on a guy like Chastain, who as of late just feels like he's him in that, well, I won't say the whole Trackhouse team, but at least him, he's starting to figure it out again and figure out how to be fast and how to actually put together an entire race. Because we talked a lot about with Ross Chastain, the differences between him being good and being bad is just being able to stay smart the whole way through, put together a good race. And I'm telling you right now, Cody, with what we saw last week at Charlotte, right? Having the down cycle in practice where he had to go to the backup car and, do all the adversity that he had to overcome in that race. We haven't seen that version of Ross Chastain in a very long time where, he had to, all his chips were down and he had to come back from it. And he really did put together a solid race. He only led 8 laps that entire race, but I guarantee you that last one was the only one that mattered to him, in that he ended up winning that race. So, 2nd place at Texas earlier this season, 7th at Bristol, 7th at Darlington, 6th at Martinsville, 5th at Las Vegas. Some great finishes for Ross Chastain. And I think he's a solid DFS play again this week. I don't think he's going to slow down much from his momentum that he built last week.
Yeah, I agree. I picked him to win this race, actually, to bet on to win this race in the betting episode. I completely agree. Another guy who's been extremely good every time they come here. This is a quote-unquote home race for Trackhouse. They're based technically out of Nashville. They build the cars and everything in Charlotte because at this point in time, it's impossible not to. But they've got a big thing in downtown Nashville there and all of that, and that's their home offices, all of that stuff. So home race for them. They treat this race that way. He's treated it that way the last couple of years. Now you're coming off that big win, and you mentioned all the races he's run really well in so far this season. I don't see why that doesn't continue. By the way, he's not qualified well so far this season. 17th is his best start outside of a super speedway or road course. If that trend continues, and eventually they're going to figure out qualifying, you would think, right? But if it does continue and he continues to start not well, that makes him an even better play because he is making up the positions and he's finding his way towards the front. Oh, by the way, if they do start well now he's going to have the chance to lead a bunch of laps and lay down the faster laps quicker. So kind of a win-win playing Ross Chastain.
Yeah, again, to your point, 25th average start, 12.9 average finish, only DNF'd once this season. So very solid run for the one car and young Ross Chastain. Lock up your watermelons. They are not safe for the next few weeks. So let's go Ross Chastain, $10,000. All right, we'll come back with our mid-tier drivers, but first allow me to tell you about our friends over at Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. There's no usage fees, no minimums. You can earn cashback rewards and get 100% approval for all betting deposits. Go sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN. Deposit $25. Edge Boost is going to match that deposit. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And now it's time to tell you about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. In fact, we're going to load you up with a ton of our favorite Underdog Fantasy plays for this Cracker Barrel 400. So stay tuned and you'll get all of our favorite plays for this slate. Underdog is going along for the NBA playoffs with their extender bonus. Go hop in game 1. And the longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus gets. In the meantime, while you're waiting, sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. Claim that special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. like we said at the onset of the show, there's a lot of good plays on Underdog. We'll give you 6 between the two of us, but boy, go load up and reach that 8. I'm sure you can find a couple more that you like.
Oh, you can definitely find some more you like. Speaking of things we like on this show, Rod, Carson Hocevar, somebody we both enjoy very much, 7,005. This is why you got to watch on YouTube. Rod has removed himself from the stream. I believe that is him boycotting the Carson Hocevar pick. But nonetheless, Rod, you can't deny the speed that 77 car has had lately. We saw it last week. He was running just a third place. He was in third place, running there without strategy, without anything else, hanging with the big dogs, using, that Spire car. They found some speed. He had 11 fastest laps. He led a couple of laps up front there. Was looking good. Again, like Hamlin, the engine expired on that thing. We didn't get the result that maybe we should have expected, but we saw what he's capable of and what he can do there, right? Racked up a ton of points in the All-Star race and the All-Star Open. I do find it funny how they count points in the All-Star Open, but there's never any contests for the All-Star Open, Rod. Which, by the way, there should be. Just tossing that out there, DraftKings, if you're listening. But going back through, it's been some up days, some down days, certainly. He's got some minus points. He's definitely a higher risk play, right? Because we've seen the swings with Hocevar. We've seen how things can go either way. And the results aren't always there, but we've seen a lot of speed from him. He started on the pole at Texas, led 22 laps, ended up with a not great finish, and that's what we need to work on. But 11th place run at Bristol, led a couple of laps there, had a great day. And I just overall, again, looking through the stats, looking through the results, that's the problem. We need to get the results. But that's where people are going to look at this and be like, but he doesn't ever finish well. You don't play him. So that's where you take this opportunity, because when he does put it together and finishes well, and we're getting closer to that, I think that it's going to happen. Clearly the speed is there. Clearly he's got the talent to run up front. He just needs to refine the small stuff to get to the end. Nothing you can do about a blown motor last week, right? It wasn't blown because of a bad shift or something. It just blew because it blew, and that's what happens. But 7,500 for Carson Hocevar, Rod. I'm sure you'll agree he's a great player.
Cousin Danny saying Hocevar absolutely could have won the 600 if he didn't blow up. Well, Cousin Danny,
you're not wrong.
I could have been in the NBA if I was 6'7" and had talent, but again, that did not happen. That is not what life is.
But it could have happened, Rod. You could have been 6'7". You could have been talented. It just didn't work out. So maybe it works out for Carson Hocevar, and that's the hope.
It's your hope. My hope is that I just don't have to worry about him for the rest of my time on Earth. But in fact, I will. But you know who is talented? AJ Allmendinger. He is definitely talented. $6,600 for AJ Allmendinger. I talked about him yesterday on the betting episode in which I gave him out as a top 10 play. And I'm telling you right now, I have a feeling that he is going to be not just a top 10 play, but a very solid DFS play for you this week. When you look at the Nashville Next Gen top 10 average finishes, according to our friends over at iFantasy Race, AJ Allmendinger firmly planted in 9th place overall in that one with a 13.3 average finish. I get it. It's not necessarily a top 10 finish, but 13.3 for a guy that is priced at $6,600. You will absolutely take that. He finished 11th place here last year, scored you 49.7 points after starting 28th. He did have a fast lap, and he actually did lead a lap. AJ Allmendinger in the 2023 race got you 45.25 points, started 19th, finished 10th, had 5 of the fastest laps in the 2023 race. And then in 2022, AJ Allmendinger didn't have a good year because this was that was a part-time year for him too. 19 points is how many he got you there. But the last couple of years, he's got you 45 points or more. So I'm telling you right now, for AJ Allmendinger, priced at $6,600, if he gets you 45 points out of $6,600, that's a massive return on a mid-tier guy like that. And we talk about how he's done this season and how actually Kaullig Racing overall has been pretty impressive when you talk about Ty Dillon finishing in the top 10 in some of these weeks. And so AJ, 21.5 is his average fantasy points per race, but he got you 46 last week in Charlotte, 47 in the All-Star Open, 46 at Bristol. He got you 40 at the Straight Talk Wireless 448 in Las Vegas at the Jiffy Lube one. So again, he's been running well enough to get you good fantasy days this season. And for me, like I said, lately he just feels like he's been a much better driver. I don't know if that's because he got out of his head. I don't know if it's because he's just enjoying the ride now, or they're giving him faster cars. But I would more certainly take him over Carson Hocevar at any turn, because I have a feeling that with him, the more veteran driver that he is, he's going to be able to turn in a good solid day. Like I said, 8th place at Vegas, 7th at Miami, 9th at Bristol, 4th at Charlotte. All solid days for AJ Allmendinger. $6,600 is the mid price, so grab him as your mid-tier driver.
It's that dad life, Rod. He's got that young son. He's at the track all the time. He's enjoying it, loves it. I think that's given him a boost. And you know, so I heard somebody, I think it might have been Jordan Bianchi, making the point on the teardown about, don't forget how talented AJ Allmendinger is. He came over from IndyCar. He had a Penske deal. He was in the 22 car for Penske Racing. That was his ride. He was going to be the guy at Penske. There was a suspension thing, got in a little bit of trouble and lost that opportunity, but he's bounced back. He's hung around, obviously done really well for years. And now we've seen Kaullig, and we should have seen this coming, Rod, because they put Ty Dillon in the other car. And we were like, why are you putting Ty Dillon in the 10 car, right? But why is because now they have a better engine deal with Richard Childress, Ty Dillon's grandpa. You get a better engine package, you get a better engine deal, and look, it's paying massive dividends. Ty's having the greatest greatest season of his career so far. AJ's bounced back. I got a trivia question for you, Rod. Who was the 2023 Xfinity Series winner at Nashville?
I know the answer to that because it's AJ Allmendinger. Thank you very much. I remember we talked about him on that episode.
Correct. Yes, he has won here at Nashville already in the Xfinity Series. He's running lights out. Another guy that last week was what did he finish? Top 6 or something like that? And yeah, 4th. And that was not strategy. I mean, you know, Denny obviously fell out and Larch had issues earlier, but he was just running up there, running that good, and had a great race
too.
That's the type of yeah, exactly. So the raw speed was there. Just had a great day, and yeah, that pays off on a big day. And you know, it gets a little scary playing a guy like that when he starts 5th, because you feel like, there's not much of a ceiling there, but it paid off, right? 46.4 points, like you said. So great day for AJ Allmendinger, talented race car driver. And I really like that.
Thank you very much. I will take a bow. All right, let's save some people some ultimately good money there to stack up all the favorites that we have. Who's our low price driver here, Cody?
Let's do that, Rod. Cousin Danny, this play is for you. I'd like you to tune in and listen. Said I did not convince him on the Eric Jones car lift, Rod, in the betting episode. I am here to once again tell you about my friend and great person, Eric Jones, Rod. $6,000. We're all in on the legacy cars right now because we've seen the speed. They look fast. This is our opportunity to capitalize before it becomes, oh, hey, look at these guys. You look at the Coke 600 last week. Nothing special or fancy from Eric Jones. He started in 27th. He finished in 13th. 44.9 points for a guy at, you know, last week he was $6,500. This week he's only $6,000. So goes out to have a great, goes out, has a great weekend, and they drop his price by $500. It doesn't make a ton of sense. Rough day at Kansas. I get it, right? Didn't have a good finish, got caught up in some stuff. But Texas, you go back there, 48.5 points in that. He starts 14th, finishes in 5th, actually recorded a fastest lap. He was the best finishing Toyota in that entire race. 38.5, 21.6, 43 back at Darlington, 25, 41.5. He's turned in some really great runs throughout this season. You go back and you look, suspension issue here last year, so the result wasn't there. But he's been good in the other 2 races we've had here. An 8th place finish in 2023 when they were struggling right before they switched from Chevrolet to Toyota. We weren't really sure what was going on with that team. I don't remember if Gregson was still there or if he had just lost his teammate. Like, that whole situation was going on. And then back in 2022, an 11th place run here. He's looked good. He's looked fast. Legacy has all the speed in the world right now. Both of those cars have looked so good. John Nemechek, we've talked about him, right? We continue to bet on him. He started really well last week, and he was running a great race until he wasn't, and that happens. But I think we're both all in on these legacy cars, and it starts with Eric Jones at $6,000, Rod, and it continues
John
with
Hunter Nemechek right there at $5,500. That is my low price driver. Again, we are so in love with Legacy Motor Club right now, and just the way that they are handling things. And for John Hunter Nemechek, you said it's just been a star-crossed season for this young man. He got you -5 points last week, an unfortunate situation, but he did start sixth. He had the speed to start inside of the top 10. So far, he's averaging 30.9 fantasy points per race, which for a guy who is $5,500, I mean, again, it's like almost 6 times what you're paying for him. And it just, to me, I don't see how he's ahead of guys like Justin Haley, who's in front of him in price. He's a guy, Todd Gilliland, who's ahead of him in price. Austin Dillon, his teammate Eric Jones, Michael McDowell. He's scoring more points per race than Zane Smith, Noah Gragson, even AJ Allmendinger, who we were just singing our praises for. Daniel Suarez, Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric, like Ty Gibbs, even, if I can twist the knife. Carson Hocevar, your golden boy. John Hunter Nemechek outscoring him on a per race basis. Josh Berry, Alex Bowman, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski. The list goes on and on and on, right? John Hunter Nemechek scoring better than all of these guys in fantasy. Now, granted, his one cup start on this track did not produce that many points. And only gave you 14 points on the day, unfortunately. But again, if you just look at his finishes lately, that like 7. So his average start this season, 23.2, average finish 18.8. Now that's not glaring, but that just means he's not losing positions, right? In Kansas, started 17th, finished 10th. In Texas, started 28th, finished 8th, right? Big days like that are the days that you can find. In Phoenix, started 36th, finished 14th. In Vegas, even gained 10 spots from a 30th place start to a 20th place finish. So not bad there. Now, what has he done at Nashville Superspeedway as an Xfinity car driver? Well, he won a race there. Started 15th and finished first in 2024. And then the year before that, started 21st and finished 6th. We forget how good John Hunter Nemechek was in the Xfinity Series. This was one of the tracks that he was really good at, obviously, in his 2 starts, led 76 laps in that win also, by the way. So you take a John Hunter Nemechek that is actually running kind of hot right now, and you price him at only $5,500, literally down with the squirrels. Come on. Now, the guys that are underneath them in price, Cole Custer, SVG, Riley Herbst, Ty Dillon, Cody Ware, JJ Yaley, and Fincham. End of list. How can you disrespect John Hunter like that? Thank you very much. I will take that disrespect and cash with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this play. Obviously, you talked about him on the betting episode. We've brought him up a lot lately, and it's because we continue to see it. This team has improved a lot. We're seeing a lot of good from them out of both of these drivers, and I think playing both of them is a great way to do it.
Too. Stacking teams is not necessarily one of the big strategies, but I guarantee you right now, this is a team you want to stack on their hot streak right now. So,
now you got me thinking, Ron. What if you did a legacy stack? I'll let you recap while I build this stack.
Build up the stack. Get out your pen and paper while Cody's stacking. We're going to go over our DFS plays for this Cracker Barrel 400. Cody started you off with Denny Hamlin at $10,700 is his high price driver. I said Ross Chastain, smashing watermelons at $10,000 is my high price driver. Cody gave you He Who Shall Not Be Named, aka Carson Hocevar at $7,500 as his mid-tier driver. I gave you my Spirit driver, AJ Allmendinger, at $6,600 as my mid-tier driver. We're going legacy, kids. Eric Jones, $6,000 for Cody's low price driver. John Hunter at $5,500 for my low price driver. Cody, what did you stack and what are the results?
Yeah, I was stacking the legacy guys and the Kaullig guys. And if you do that, it leaves you with a fuck ton of money. So you can put Denny and Kyle at the top, and you still have $5,200 to work with. So I'm just submitting this right now. AJ, Ty, and then John Hunter and Eric Jones, along with Denny and Kyle Larson. And we're just going to leave $5,000 on the table because those two teams are hitting it right now. They're on fire. They're doing well. And I like it.
So I love DFS for those strategies because you don't have to worry about a whole lot of stuff. Like if they finish 11th instead of 10th, yeah, again, that's maybe a couple of points and maybe that costs you a few GPP positions or whatever, but you're not completely not cashing a bet. Maybe you're finishing 10th in the GPP instead of 11 or ninth, and you miss out on $5 or $6. You don't lose the entire bet, which is what I love about playing DFS.
Yeah, it does. It's not that line that like completely just shuts it down, and it's like, oh, finished 11th. Now your bet means nothing. Now your DFS play means nothing. It can still matter. So I like it.
Unless you're in a 50-50, and then that counts you, and then you're done. But oh well. All right. We're going to come back after the break. We're going to give you some of our favorite underdog fantasy plays for the slate. But first, let me tell you about Rhythm. CT Rhythm is your home for AI-backed picks and props. The NBA playoffs, the PGA, MLB, and they just launched the WNBA. Rhythm knows you're going to love it. That is why they include a 7-day free trial. Speaking of WNBA, been building my Caitlin Clark models all season long. You should join in too, because obviously one of the hottest players in the WNBA. And it's good to ride the stats and good to figure out what to bet on. Rhythm has some amazing deals going on now. 25% off a monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25 and 50% off an annual subscription with promo code SGPN50. That's RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, won't you? Hey, guess what? Fantasy football season in full swing right now. As if it really ever ends. But now we're starting to think about drafts, right? And Circa Resort Casino in Las Vegas is giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league, well, 11 persons plus me, to draft in Vegas and be treated like a VIP stay for your entire stay. When you win, you're going to get a 2-night stay at Circa Resort and Casino for the entire 12-person league. 6 double king rooms. If you're counting, you can hold the draft at the Cabana at Stadium Swim with a $5,000 food and beverage credit. No, I did not stutter. $5,000. You get limo transportation to and from the airport. You get a welcome party at Legacy Club for the league and a reservation at the world's largest sports book with $500 beverage credit for your entire league, which, if it's anything like my league, will probably last about 15 minutes, and we'll be looking for the rest of where we're going next. And you get a 2-hour open bar package for the league at Overhang Bar. Enter now through June 30th. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. Time to tell you about MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every single sport, including the NBA playoffs. And for the true D-Gens, the MyBookie money bag. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, probably even yours. Easy deposit and lightning fast payout using cryptocurrency. You know I love to go all over these books and to figure out the fun stuff to give you. How about the All-Ireland Hurling Competition? The All-Ireland Hurling Championship is happening right now. You can place your bets for that. Do you like Limerick at +100? Do you like Cork at +226? How about Kilkenny at +450? They're all there for you. Dublin, maybe at 50-1, or Kildare at 500-1. I'm telling you right now, folks, there's so much fun stuff if you just explore these books, and MyBookie has got a lot of fun stuff to bet on as well. So head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Hurling. Have you ever thought about even going up against hurling?
I can't say that
No,
I have.
I've watched it a couple of times. It is intriguing to say, and that's like highlight. Highlight is another one of those sports where you watch it and you go, I never knew this existed, and now I cannot get it off my television. So I encourage you guys. ESPN Ocho is the way to live life. Like, yeah, great NBA, NFL, MLB. Those are all fine and dandy. But, man, live life off the grid. NASCAR, F1, Indy, hurling, all these fun off-the-wall sports.
Yeah. We are a bit of a niche sport podcast, Rod, so
Indeed.
I like it.
All right. Well, then, so it's time now for our Underdog Fantasy plays for this game. Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. The premise is simple. Underdog tries to project the finishing position for a slew of drivers, and then they give you either the better than or the worse than, or in some cases just the better than, because it's essentially selecting whether or not they're going to finish inside of the top 10. You stack up them all and you get the multipliers rolling, and then by the end of it, you can cash pretty nicely when they all hit. I'm going to say win, because you guys are some smart cookies, and we're going to give you some plays that we like for the Underdog fantasy.
I like it, Rod. So one fun thing that they've added, I believe it's just this year where they started doing it, but you can take the projection, fantasy projection. So a lot of times it's better or worse, right? A set position. But you can also take a driver to be the top finishing manufacturer, like we do on the betting side of things, right? So you can get, that's right, we're going back to the Eric Jones. Well, you can get Eric Jones in here to be the top finishing Toyota as a yes at 14.45 times your entry. But here's the cool thing about this, right? And this is why I really wanted to highlight this. Obviously, don't put this play in every single underdog entry you make this week because it's not the most likely outcome. We understand that, but there's the possibility, right? He just did it at Texas a couple weeks ago. 1.5 miles, intermediate track. He got it done there, and I'm very high on him this week. But if you play Eric Jones and then you pick any of these, pick whichever finishing position you like and you feel comfortable with, right? So I'm going to use Chase Elliott better than 9.5 as the example here. You put, because you got to have 2 plays in this, but you put those 2 plays together, your multiplier is now 50.57. That means if you put $5 on it, $252, you can get a return. $10 entry, $505. That's and really all you need is obviously the Eric Jones part of it's tough, but then Chase Elliott just to finish the top 10, like, or whatever, right? Any of these other plays you can put in there with it that's just at the 1 times your entry, but then they're multiplied together, and that multiplier increases all that stuff, and it gets you up to 50.57, which is just, it's a great way to get in on the action and really increase your multiplier. Then you toss that 14 multiplier in there with a 6-team or an 8-team lineup, and it hits, like, holy shit, now we're really talking, right? So I really like that option from them, and again, allows us to kind of bring out the degen only in us and take that longer shot fantasy projection, which I really like having the option to do. I already like Eric Jones. I've told you about him earlier, told you about him on the betting episode as well. So, go back and listen if you want all the stats and stuff. But give me the Eric Jones top Toyota at 14.45 times.
That in and of itself is a fantastic plays. And when that hits, woo, boy, you're going to love Cody and you're going to love yourself for listening to Cody, which, you'll love Eric Jones. You already should love Eric Jones. What's not to love about Eric Jones? I'm telling you right now.
Who doesn't like Eric Jones?
That's true. I don't know that anybody wants to punch him on the track.
I don't think there's many boos when Eric Jones.
Not as many boos as there are for Kyle Busch, which is where we are going next, unfortunately. And I'm talking in a somber tone because I am not taking a hopeful tone for Kyle Busch. I am, in fact, taking the worse than on his finishing projection, which is 13.5. Not to kick a driver when he's down, but here's my boot, Kyle, unfortunately. If you're looking at his overall finishes this season, his average finish 17.8. Since Las Vegas, he has only finished better than this projection once, and that was in Darlington, unfortunately. 15th at Charlotte, 21st at Kansas, 20th at Texas, 27th at Talladega, 14th at Bristol, 10th at Darlington, 17th at Martinsville, 21st at Homestead, 33 in Vegas. It's like he started out the season pretty hopeful, right? A crash at Daytona, okay, that happens. But 7th in Atlanta, 5th at Dakota, 8th at Phoenix. We thought, okay, Kyle Busch has got this thing figured out. Maybe the whole distraction of keeping his winning streak alive last season was too much for him. And maybe now that that's gone, he's back again, right? No. Tail, spin, dive. And there's a lot of tracks for Kyle Busch that you can point to and go, yes, but Kyle Busch has been good at this track. If there's a track that Kyle Busch can bounce back on, this is the one. This is not the one. His average finish in his 4 races here at Nashville, 17.0, average start of 19th. He DNF'd on the last one. He crashed out of the last race, starting 27th, finished 27th, by the way, in that race. He did have a top 10 finish, right, in 2023 in the 8 car in his first year there. He's led in 3 of 4 races, but the finishes, like I said, have not been there. 11th in 2021 in the 18, 21st, 9th, 27th. If I'm betting on which of these Kyle Busches that I'm looking at is going to be the one that shows up, it's going to be the one that finished 27th and 21st at this track, not the one that finished 11th and 9th. So for me, look, can he have a top 15 finish? He's Kyle Busch, of course. He could go out and win this race at some point, right? It's just, that's the range of let's not get ahead of ourselves, I suppose. The range of outcomes for Kyle Busch is pretty big, but lately has not been better than 13.5. So give me Kyle Busch worse than 13.5 this week.
I need to go back and look at my preseason slips, Rod, but I'm pretty sure that I took a bet on Mr. Busch to win over 1.5 races. So I'll have to see if that slip even exists. So I might have already put it in the shredder, but shit happens. Yeah, I mean, again, you hate to see it. You hate to just keep kicking a dog while he's down, but that's what you got to do at this point. And I think fading Kyle Busch is the correct way to continue to do it. Ross Chastain, better than 9.5, Rod. You talked about him just a little bit ago. I talked about him on the betting episode. He's coming in with all the momentum in the world. He's been really good here, right? Denny was leading with 2 laps to go. I talked about a little bit ago. Ross Chastain was the second place guy with 2 laps to go. Led 45 laps on the day even. He won here in 2023. So the last 2 years, average finish, if you're counting the 2 laps to go part of it, 1.5. Led 99 laps that day, had a strong run. 5th, I got to throw that asterisk in there every time, Rod, because my stats might look a little different than the actual stats. But again, that's what we're rolling with. In 5th place here in 2022. So 9.5 is what his projection is at. He has to just finish inside the top 9, but top 5 in all 3 of these races with that small asterisk in there. But he's coming off the win at Charlotte, 2nd place at Texas, better than 9th, 7th at Bristol, better than 9th, 7th at Darlington, better than 9th, 5th at Vegas, better than 9th, won Kansas last fall, 7th place at Vegas in the fall. So this started last year. He's been good. The 1.5 miles for quite some time. And really, he's shown up and been pretty solid this year. 9.5 for the guy coming off the win, who's been incredibly good all 3 years at this track. I like it for Ross Chastain, and we're both on him. Obviously, you just talked about him in the DFS portion. I was on him already in the betting thing. We're adding him to Underdog, giving him the watermelon hat.
I mean, I absolutely love it. So does Leon's Automotives. Trackhouse overall comes out stacked for their home race, and it's
yeah, and that's what I mentioned earlier, right? This is their quote unquote home race, like Leon's Automotive pointed out there. And Nashville, they want to show out. They're going to have more partners there than anything else. This is their home base. They're going to have a bunch of employees out there, all that stuff. And it's a big race for them. And clearly, they've put a lot of effort into that one car over the last couple of years. And it's really showing.
Yeah, and look, all of the watermelons and Kroger's across the great part of Nashville and all that area are probably sold out. So, look I'm with you.
Hopefully they're bringing in the trucks of watermelon this weekend.
I think they are. Well, somebody who will not be smashing watermelons or probably even partaking of any watermelons. I don't want to kick drivers when they're down, but when Underdog continues to give us the good finish.
Well, he sort of stood up a little bit.
Well, but that's why.
So he's not completely down. You're just kicking him while he's
standing
back
I'm kicking his knees out from underneath him as he's trying to get up again. That little pony that's trying to get up. Brad Keselowski. They're giving us 12.5 as his finishing position, his finishing projection. And I can't take the better than on this one. And I know they're going to point to it and say, but he just finished 5th, Rod. Yeah, but that's only one of 2 times that he's finished this season better than that finishing position. 13 races. He's only finished better than this twice. Since Las Vegas, he hasn't finished better than this other than the Charlotte race, right? He's DNF'd in 3, crashed out of 3 races, Talladega, Texas, and Kansas. Before that at Homestead, 26th at Martinsville, 33rd at Darlington, 16th at Bristol, 36th at Talladega, like I said, 28th at Texas, 37th in Kansas. Yeah, he's back up after it again, but honestly, 11th at Vegas was the only other better finish that he's had this season that wasn't completely down in the dumps. 5 DNFs. His average finish this year, 25.5. I don't think that we are going to see that same Brad Keselowski that we saw at Charlotte last week. There was a lot of stuff going on, especially in that race in general, that kind of made him look a little better than he really was, I think. He had some speed. He finished third. He started 35th, finished 5th. So he drove up through the field. There was some strategy play in there. There was, a couple of things that got him to where he was. I don't know if they have it in them for back-to-back weeks to get himself better than 12.5. Does he, again, a lot like Kyle Busch, should be a 15th place car or better. Should be every single week, but we just have not seen it consistently. And I'm not ready to stand here and tell you that he's going to be a top 12 car this week with any sort of certainty. So give me Brad Keselowski worse than 12.5.
Yeah, I don't hate this one. I mean, we saw maybe there was some speed at Kansas, but how much of that was related to tire pressure, which obviously didn't work out as he spins from second place. So this is one of those where you say, okay, we're going to fade him again this week. Now, if he comes out and has a good finish here at Nashville, maybe we'll start to back off of that going forward, right? Because then it'll be back-to-back. We saw the speed earlier. But overall, we haven't seen it so far this season. And so I think you continue down that road of, was last week just that glimpse of, oh, okay, and then it just goes right back to where it was. That's where you capitalize on them kind of bringing it up a little bit because they're like, oh, maybe he's a little, nope, maybe not.
But so, a lot like that too, and a lot with Kyle Busch, the same thing on here on Nashville. Yeah, you could pop up and have one good week like you did in 2023 and finish 11th. But outside of that, 23rd, 29th, 25th, I mean, these are far cries from 12.5. So yeah, the one time he did finish better than this, it was only by literally 2 spots, I guess, if you really want to count it 12 and 11th. It just doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence in saying that he's going to do it again.
Yeah, I have no argument to that.
Beautiful. All right. Well, then, Cody, let's polish it off. Who do we got as our last pick for this one?
Let's do that, Rod. I'm going to go to, I mentioned it earlier as a safe play that I would like. Chase Elliott, better than 9.5. I just going to keep coming back to him because he's a guy that's reliable. I think so far on this season, Rod, you know how many finishes worse than 20th place Chase Elliott has?
I'm going to say none.
0. You are correct. 20th is his worst finish. That actually came at a super speedway anyways. So outside of that, 16th, 18th, I guess, at Homestead. But he is just a guy that is solid. He's always going to keep you in contention. Again, the top end speed hasn't necessarily been there, although we saw a glimpse of that at Kansas as well before the pit road mistake kind of cost the team. But he's been good at this track as well. One here in 2022, 4th place in 2023. He's coming off a 6th place run last week at the Coke 600. That fast car at Kansas, man, he led 29 laps. Looked like he was going to run away with it. Untimely caution. The pit crew kind of messed up and had a rough day there. But that'll happen. Texas and Bristol, 15th place runs, 16th place run. You'd like to see a little bit better, but you got that at Darlington with the 8th place finish, 10th place at Las Vegas, so right there on the mix. But Chase Elliott is a guy that you can trust to at least keep you in contention for this. Should be a top 10 driver each and every single week, so going to run it back with him again.
It's Chase Elliott. I don't know what else to say. Hendrick Motorsports obviously is still the cream of the crop, and still, and I'll talk about the other teammate here in a second after we say hello to Nick. Nick saying good afternoon, Sassy Cody and Hot Rod.
Hi, Nick.
Fun fact: an elderly couple has visited all but one Cracker Barrel locations.
Yes, it is life goals. We had a little bit of Cracker Barrel conversation earlier on while Justin was complimenting the Nebraska Hustlers shirt that I'm wearing, Nick. So make sure you ask him about that. But that just visiting all of the Cracker Barrel locations except for one. I have seen that story. I don't remember which one they haven't and why they haven't got to it. I think it's like one that's not super easily accessible, but they got to get to the last one, right? Cracker Barrel should be like paying for that and making a big thing out of it. So maybe they'll work on that. Like make that a big thing. Like you've been to every fucking one. We'll take you to the last one. We're going to wine and dine you. And they can wine because they have liquor licenses now, Rod. So
yeah, they should get the big Cracker Barrel jet out and then fly them out there and do up the VIP style. If Circa can open the doors like that, Cracker Barrel, you certainly can for this couple.
We know you got some money, Cracker Barrel.
Get on it. All right. Speaking of somebody who can fly in jets and do all kinds of crazy things, the following driver, I'm going to read off his finishes here at Nashville. A 1st place finish in 2021 after leading 264 laps, a 4th place finish in 2022, a 5th place finish in 2023, and a horrible, just terrible day, 8th place finish in 2024. That following driver has also logged 8 top 5 finishes in 13 starts this season with 3 wins with an average finish of 11.9. If you guessed Kyle Larson, you would absolutely be right on that aspect of it. So Kyle Larson, his finishing projection set at 5.5. I don't know what to say other than yes, Cody. Would you like to say something?
I have a correction, Rod. Where did you say he finished last year?
2024, he finished in 8th place.
Incorrect. He finished in third place with 2
Oh.
laps to go in the statistical set that I am
was-
using. With 2 laps to go, he was running in third place. So to your point, all 3 years he's been great. If you remember, one of those overtimes he was leading and ran out of fuel as they took the green flag, and I think actually caused another overtime. But he had another great year here last year. Just the 5 overtime ordeal ruined the actual.
Okay, so by Cody's metric, he is 4 for 4 finishing inside of the top 5 on this track. However, by all rights and NASCAR standards, he is 3 for 4 in that capacity. Third place at Phoenix. He won in Miami. Obviously, just listed at Bristol. He won. Second at Talladega. Fourth at Texas. He won at Kansas. Charlotte was. We'll wipe that one the hell out of our memory because I'm sure he did too. That was just him trying to bite off way too much of the shark. And I feel like he learned a little lesson from that one. Kyle's not going to stop racing everything that God gives him from and puts in front of him. He's not going to stop. But I think he realized now that there is a limitation to which you can stretch yourself and that you do have to sort of focus on the task at hand, because if you get too far ahead of yourself and think, I can jump into this car, and next thing you know, the back end steps out from you on a completely different track, couple hours later from when it did the first time, and somebody else is flipping you off, telling you that you're an idiot and that you don't belong in your car. So yeah, Kyle Larson, I think last weekend, Cody, humbled him. And I think we are in for another solid ride from him again. 5.5, he's going to be a top 5 car. Just he's going to be a top 5 car. It's the matter of, does he have enough fuel to stay there this year? I think he will. I think he does. I think they'll play the right strategy. And I think Kyle Larson will finish as a top 5 car and beat this projection.
Yeah, I really like this. And go check out the Full Tank with Phil podcast. I was listening to that yesterday evening with our buddy Phil, and he was bringing up a stat about Kyle Larson. I don't have the stat in front of me. I didn't write it down, but it was something to the effect of Kyle Larson has finished worse than 30-something 16 times in his career. And I think he's almost 100% a top 5 the next week. So he is one to watch out this week. He's really good at bouncing back. Again, I don't know if the statistics exactly right, but something to that effect of really good at bouncing back the week after a really bad week. So, yeah, that's he's definitely a guy. And we just didn't talk about him much this week. Hard to work your way in many places, but Underdog here, a great place to work.
Indeed. Leon's Automotive wants to know, speaking of, isn't there one driver who's a position result away from finishing a race in every possible position? Can't remember.
Feels like an AJ Allmendinger stat. Which would, he's won cup races before. So yeah, who knows what position that is, but interesting. We'll have to look that up and revisit. That's, yeah.
Actually, that would be kind of a nice little distinction to own. I've finished in every possible position.
Yeah. And he probably has 43rd, 42nd, 41st, which we don't even have those fields anymore, but he was around long enough in the days where we had 43 cars that he might have those 3 positions. Not that you want those results, but be cool to say you have them, I guess. In this
no, that would be awesome. So we'll do a little digging. We'll have our interns dig into that. By interns, we mean us, and we'll get back to you, Leon's Automotive, on the next show. All right, get out your pen and paper. Yeah. We're going to go over our Underdog fantasy plays for the Cracker Barrel 400. Cody started you off with Eric Jones as the top Toyota, multiplier of 14.45. Jump on that one while you still have a chance. I said that Kyle Busch would finish worse than 13.5. Cody said Ross Chastain finishing better than 9.5 was his next play. I said Brad Keselowski finishing worse than 12.5 was mine. Cody gave you Chase Elliott to finish better than 9.5 as his next one. And I said Kyle Larson better than 5.5, bouncing back this week to turn in a top 5 performance at the Nashville Superspeedway.
We did it, Rod. We broke Underdog. We maxed out the multiplier. So with 5 if you have the Eric Jones one in there and you do 6 or 5 of the 6 picks, you get to their max 250 times your entry fee. $1, Rod. You can win $250. You're not competing against a bunch of other people. You don't have to worry about who scored points where. It's just your picks, mano a mano. You beat Underdog, and I mean, yeah, a $1 you can get $250. Obviously, $10 is what, $2,500. So, yeah, oof, boy, it's I love Underdog.
And
I've already I've already put in multiple plays with that. Just leave it like. So I left off Larson in one of them. I left off Keselowski in one of them. Played the rest of them.
God, I love Underdog so much. You guys should too. Race SGPN is the promotion code to get all kinds of great stuff going on. So make sure you hit that as well. All right. We are done for the week, ladies and gentlemen. Now all there is left to do is to sit back and enjoy the races this weekend and have yourself a good old time. So, Cody, we will not speak to each other again until Tuesday because we ban each other from talking until the next time we see each other. But no, I'm just kidding. We don't.
I don't think that happens. We end up talking a lot even when we're not on here, which is great because we love each other. So it's awesome. All right, Rod, make sure you follow us over on the YouTube if you haven't already. 24 subs. We're Jeff Gordon subscribers away from that 1,000 mark. Help us get a little bit closer. We greatly appreciate it. Best of luck to everybody this week. Rod, you can follow me on the X at Husker_Zeeb, where you can find all of my stuff, and there is plenty of it. We'll see you guys next week for Michigan.
24 subscribers. God, grab your friends. Tell them grab their phone and just subscribe. I mean, I promise we're not going to flood their feed with a whole lot of junk. I mean, 24 people. That's all we need to get to 1,000. Hit that this weekend would be fantastic. Again, we're trying to get there at least by the 4th, and that's something we can do. 4th of July. I have a feeling we can do that. But all right, follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here. Make sure if you're listening now live to go later on here at the In Between Media YouTube and check out the Backroad Seth and Elliott talking over the fun of Nashville with each other. And then, got all kinds of great stuff coming. And another project, because I necessarily don't like myself and I like to keep giving myself more work. Resurrecting something that I once loved. Check that out on Twitter. See you guys next week, everybody. Love you all. And until then, let's go racing and let it ride. Piece of us is broken. Eyes cry till they're so